Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Film Snobbery Live. I am your host, Nick Baisley, and I am joined, as usual, by my co-host, director, Jerry Cavallaro. Say hi to the good folks, Jerry.
Hi, everyone.
Great. Now, Jerry will be the your chat room moderator for the evening, as usual. So if you guys have any questions for our guests tonight, we want to make sure you send them, just post them right there in the chat room. Jerry will forward them over to me. Speaking of our guests, we're honored, I would say, to have a fantastic gentleman on. He's going to talk tonight about both life as a screenwriter and as a director, and he's a man that you're easily able to scope out his work. He's the writer of writer and director of such movies as Solitary Man and his upcoming The Game. He's also the writer of movies such as The Girlfriend Experience, Rounders, and Knockaround Guys. Also the director of Knockaround Guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to welcome him right now. No pretense about it. Let's get him on. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Koppelman.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going fantastic, sir. I'm really happy that you're able to join us tonight, and really happy that you're able to kind of share your knowledge and your experience, because it's
psyched to be here. Always happy to talk to people who are knowledgeable about film and curious and interested. I just want to say one thing off the top of the bat here, which is that Knockaround Guys and Solitary Man, I co-direct those movies with my filmmaking partner David Levine, so it's not just me. I do that stuff with a partner.
Typical filmmaking. It is always a collaborative process. And actually, one of the things I would ask you right off the bat is, how did you get involved with your writing directing partner? I mean, I know that those relationships can be it's always great to have a partner in crime like that. Like Jerry is my partner in crime. How did you find yours?
Yeah, well, it's a really great and lucky story. Jerry's been like my brother since we were 14 and 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
We met on a cross-country student bus trip, and we were both big Van Halen fans, and that's a real bonding thing for us. And we were the only guys on this trip who liked to read and were interested in movies, and we just became best friends and always sort of thought about doing something like this together. So we've been doing it professionally together for 15 years, and feel really lucky about that.
And did you have? You've obviously had some great opportunities along the way to get your movies get your movies made, both from a screenwriting perspective and from a directing perspective. I know that the first question we're going to get from everyone, and it's probably best to get it out of the way first, right at the top, is, how the hell do you break in? I mean, I know that that's probably the most common question you get, but how do you go from pitching scripts and trying to get out there and selling things? How do you get that from there to, say, having to directing a movie like Knockaround Guys, or writing for Steven Soderbergh and The Girlfriend Experience and stuff like that? Like, how do you get there?
Well, yeah, I mean, The Girlfriend Experience came directly out of working on Ocean's 13 with Soderbergh, and all of it came from the screenplay that we wrote, for Rounders, which was a spec script that we wrote in the basement, the apartment I was living in at the time. There was a storage room downstairs, and my wife cleared out the storage room and had a slop sink in it, room for just half a desk, basically, one chair. Dave sat in the chair most of the time in tights, and I sat against on the floor, and we wrote that script every morning before I went off to work. And I listened to this. Two good buddies of mine, John August and Craig Mason, who are both super successful screenwriters, directors also. They have a new podcast they just started called Script Notes, and the episode that they just released is about how to get an agent, how to get a manager, and how to do this. And one of the things they said is people always think it's going to be the very first thing that they do, or even before they have a script, they start thinking about that. And the truth is, so much of it has to do with the work and making sure that the piece of material that you're going to go out there with actually demands, finding representation. And then it's networking. It's getting out there and meeting people. And And they did something really smart, which is to network horizontally. In other words, not try to find somebody above you, not try to find somebody on the next level, but really interacting with people who are struggling as you're struggling, and then whoever gets there first kind of helps other people.
And you know, I think that goes along with something I've always kind of even, it's been kind of a truth in my life, which was a quote that my uncle told me, which was, you know, he walked into his boss's office one day and he said, "Hey boss, I want a promotion." And his boss looked at him and he said, "All right, Rick, I'll tell you what, you promote me and I'll promote you." And to me, that always has been a sticking point to me, because it's the idea of even a lot of what we do here is that, you know, hopefully that if you spend some time promoting others that are struggling like you are, hopefully eventually that will give you the leg up you need, whether you want to call it riding coattails or paying your dues or whatever you want to call that. I mean, the idea is that people helping each other tends to work. So now I guess I guess one of the other things too is how many, I don't want to say like how many drafts do you typically go through or something like that, but I guess probably a better question would be, how much crap do you throw away before you get to a script like Rounders? You know what I mean? Like, how much stuff do you ends up in the trash, and how many, I don't want to say how many revisions, because, I mean, I know it's different for everything, but how many, I mean, is there a lot of other stuff that goes in the, in the save file before, you go, okay, this is the flick we're going to pitch?
I mean, with Rounders, we researched it for about a year and outlined. For about a year, we were going to the underground poker clubs, taking notes sort of surreptitiously, thinking about it a lot. From when it's a real weird story. It's sort of like an outlier kind of story. I mean, we wrote the screenplay in 4 months and sold it 3 months later, and we were shooting 6 months after that.
Wow.
And we didn't know anybody in the movie. I mean, David worked in the movie business for 2 years. We were living in New York. He was an assistant out there. He knew some other assistant who gave a script to a young manager, this 24-year-old kid who never sold anything, and he just was able to get it into some producer's hands, this woman, Tracy Falco, who worked for Ted Demme, the late Ted Demme, and they just responded to it and got it to Miramax, and it sold. Now, in that 4 months, we wrote the very first draft quickly, probably in 2.5 months we wrote the first draft. We put it aside for a week, we went back to it, we rewrote for a couple of weeks, and then, that's pretty much the movie. We made Miramax had some notes, combined this character with that character, but pretty much the movie that we wrote in the basement, the storage room, is a movie that ended up on screen.
And that's another question I wanted to ask is, as a writer, because you've kind of seen the promised land. You've gotten to be the writer-director type of thing, or co-writer, co-director. When you are writing for someone else and then they turn that script into a flick, and you see it on the screen, is there ever a point of contention of just like, that's not really the way I saw it in my head when I was writing it, or?
That's a really excellent question. But we have been very lucky. From our first movie on, maybe because we had this expertise about the game of poker at a time when that was pretty specialized knowledge. Poker wasn't really popular. We were invited to be on set every day, so we were a part of that movie from the rehearsals all the way through finishing the film and the test screenings. And so we never felt like John Dahl, the director, was so inviting, and Matt and Edward were our age, basically, and so they constantly were with us, asking questions. We took them to all the poker clubs, Malkovich too, and so from that moment, being on set and being a part of it, we really were able to share it. Now, have there been a couple of things that we've worked on that didn't, maybe our vision was slightly different? Sure, but working with Soderbergh, it's incredibly collaborative. And again, Ocean's 13, we were on set every day. We were part of, in the editing room and at all the tests. We were intimately involved in that movie from the beginning to the end. So, we weren't around on the set for Runaway Jury, but we feel like that movie was pretty close to what we had anticipated it would be. I haven't really had basically anything that didn't work, I mean, we just blame ourselves. We don't really look to blame other people.
No, and you know, I would assume it's less of a blame game, more of just like, hey, remember when we were writing that and we thought that, like, you probably had that vision in your head of like it should probably be like this, and then it seems something else. But it's
That can happen. That can happen in any scenario where, you know, you could be. I mean, you could be rehearsing a scene for something you wrote and you're directing, and an actor. You have to remain so open, like understand what your vision is and know what the scene's trying to accomplish, and then how the scene fits into the whole, and all that stuff. And you always keep that in your mind. But then you have to be free enough that if an actor comes up with something, not necessarily changing a line, but if the actor's reading of the line is different, but maybe it's better. You know, maybe the addition of those things actually becomes like multiplication. So for us, we're always looking for the happy accidents that make the thing somehow transcend, you know, whatever the limitations are of what we thought of.
well, and you know, you're obviously you were the writer, co-writer, co-director of Solitary Man, and you have you know, you're working with people there like Michael Douglas, Susan Sarandon. By the way, I just want to throw a quick shout out. Solitary Man, everyone out there should go grab that. It's actually out on DVD now. So you guys, if you have an opportunity to see it, I guess kind of fitting into what you were saying about, you know, trusting the actor and being in the moment of the scene and stuff. When you work with people like that have such a breadth of experience, such as, you know, Michael Douglas, Susan Sarandon, are you more apt to take cues from them because of their experience?
You know, what you find is that those people, like on a project like Solitary Man, which was really a labor of love for everybody. I mean, that movie, that's the one, I wrote that myself. David and I directed it together, but it was from my script. And it was very personal to me, that story. And Michael really responded to the material. And so he was at pains to basically tell us, look, I'm in your hands. And so he was incredibly collaborative. Maybe he changed. I remember in rehearsals, he probably cut one line and added one other line. And other than that, you know, you could sit there with the screenplay and just read along as the movie's playing. And so, no, they were great and collaborative and open, really open to direction, and really, you know, looked to us in the hopes that they were delivering what it is we wanted them to deliver.
And
you know,
I was going to even ask, how did you end up with such a phenomenal cast? I mean, like we were saying, even Michael Douglas, Susan Sarandon, I mean, you're looking at the amount of experience that you're bringing to the table even just with that, but, you know, you have a flick with Danny DeVito in it, and Mary Louise Parker, Jenna Fisher, you know, I mean, a lot of these people...
You know, it's funny, I'm looking on the chat board here, and I see your partner wrote this thing about that luck seems to play a huge part in my story, or really in anybody's story who becomes successful. And when you look back in the rearview mirror, you can always sort of see how fortune played a part. But, you know, if I look at that movie, how did I get those people? I mean, I worked on that script for 4 years. You know, people always talk about, oh man, I wrote this script, I wrote 4 scripts this year, I wrote 3. I mean, you know, every spare minute I had, I was working on trying to tell the story as true as I could tell it. Mm-hmm. And then we made the movie for free, basically. You know, the Hollywood writing jobs that we take enabled me to keep my family in our apartment while I waived my writing fee and my directing fee, basically. And you know, we wanted Jesse Eisenberg in the movie, and the studio would only pay in scale. So Dave and I, out of our pockets, paid him double scale. And we had to shoot the movie in 26 days. And you know, actors respond. They can feel when you're going about making a movie for the right reasons. And when you get Michael, first of all, when Michael said he'd do the movie, what happened was, finished the script, we gave it to Soderbergh, he loved it, he said that he would get it to Michael. He got it to Michael, Michael read it and responded, we met with him, he felt comfortable with us. And then once he committed, by the way, it was still impossible to raise the money. I mean, it took another 1.5 years to get the dough together, and you have to every day will the movie into being, and every day you do something. Every day you do something, and whether this is how do you sell your screenplay or how do you get your movie made, that you take some action every day towards that result. So, I mean, I remember I went on and I got myself a pair of sneakers on, because we couldn't get the movie made, and people were saying it was too dark and the ending was too open-ended, and if I would change the ending, it would have been, you know, we could have gotten it financed probably at twice the budget, but it wouldn't change the ending. And I remember I got these pair of shoes online, there was Nike ID. I don't know if you still could do this, but you used to be able to put words. And I got these sneakers, and I just had them put the word "solitary man" all over these sneakers, like in a tiny font, like thousands of times on the sneakers, and I wore them every single day until I got the movie greenlit, just to remind me every day to try to do something to get the movie made. And when we got Michael and we started to get the money, Susan Sarandon, Danny DeVito, all these people were attracted to him in this role and the idea of getting to play these scenes with him. And even when we said, guys, it's 26 days, it's no trailers, it's down and dirty, they were all up for it.
And I know that even someone like Danny DeVito, who's kind of, especially after working on like a very low budget comedy like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and stuff, and him being a producer director as well, I'm sure that he was much more amenable to doing something like that because of his experience and stuff like that. One of the questions that I get often from filmmakers, because I go around, I do some consulting as well, but I also go around to a lot of film festivals. I go to a lot of conferences and stuff like that. I talk to a lot of filmmakers. One of the questions I always get is in regards to screenwriting competitions and websites like Inktip and stuff like that. In your experience, is it worth the time, the money, the effort to submit your work to kind of these not outside, but like these kind of competitions and stuff like that, rather than working really hard on a script and then maybe just trying to get it in the hands of someone who can get something greenlit or whatever? I mean,
I think those competitions don't. I think other than the nickel, I don't think there's a lot of value in them.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's just hard to know where there is value in them.
Right.
Where there is value.
And I mean, I look at sites where, and I use Inktip as an example only because it's the one that kind of comes off the top of my head, but those sites where you can post online your screenplay to have someone either...
like an open source screenwriting thing where everyone can look and comment and...
look and comment, and then also buy your screenplay to option. And usually, like for Inktip, it's more about the independent filmmaker doing that. Like, I am an independent screenwriter. I'm trying to connect me with an independent filmmaker or a filmmaker in general to buy my script, or whether it's for nickels on the dollar or for for nothing, and to make it. The idea is that my stuff is getting made. Is it more important to just get your stuff made and out there, or is it more important to try to find the right project to become attached to?
Well, it is a binary thing. Getting a movie made is the difference between being someone who's really in it and someone who's not quite in it yet, right? Whether getting paid for your work in some way makes you feel like a professional. I don't really have an opinion on. I know what Inktip is. I've had friends of mine check it out and actually sort of have told me about it, but that wasn't, when I was breaking into the business, that wasn't there. So I've never used it myself, so I can't really speak to that.
Oh, that's okay. No, and it was just kind of a question because, like I said, I get it a lot from other filmmakers, I guess, and screenwriters. Do you? I know that you're on Twitter, obviously. You're on twitter.com/Brian Koppelman, in case anyone wants to follow you. And there, do you talk a lot? Do you use that more as a way to kind of personally communicate with people? Do you use it more on a business level to try to collaborate with new people, or just to impart your experiences?
I really love Twitter. I think it's a great way to sort of know what's going on in the world. And I don't, one of the things that I talk about when I speak to people about, about screenwriting in particular, about all this stuff, is everyone thinks there are rules or there are these approaches or these strategies. And the truth is, I think you got to calculate less. Like even the question of how I use Twitter, I don't really think about it. If I want to say something about like a career thing, I say it. If I want to say, hey, I'm going to be on this FilmSnobbery thing tonight, I say it. If I just want to say something funny because something occurs to me, I'll say it. It's all very fluid for me. It's a form of expression and then communication. I love Twitter because I like the speed with which I can sort of, surf it and find out what's happening in the world and what people are thinking. And I like the way connections happen in unanticipated ways. My whole career has really been about being open to what the next thing is going to be that inspires me and causes me to be passionate about something. And I really think by being open in that way, you give yourself the best chance to create something great.
And that's spoken like a true kind of artist person. No, and I totally love that. I think that the leaving yourself open for being able to interact with people, you never know what the next thing is going to be. And so if you leave yourself open and you don't, kind of pigeonhole yourself and I only use this for business, I only use this for personal reasons or whatever, it gives you the opportunity to connect on a much more real basis with people, and that can bring things over to you. No, I like that. And now I want to get back onto Solitary Man for a second, because your experiences as both a writer and a director on that. My question, I guess, is, having directed movies, does that ever, in a backwards kind of way, inform the way you write now? As do you write with the eye of a director?
Absolutely. Just actually getting a movie made and being around it, and then understanding what happens in the editing room, completely affects the way that you write, because you start to understand what's going to go away, what's going to be cut, what's superfluous, and you look for that. And then sometimes you have to train yourself back in a way to let yourself write long again, and let yourself in the first draft, and actually kind of like forget about it, and let yourself write scenes that are 5 or 6 pages, as long as you know that the draft itself, the scene's only going to be 2.5 pages. But yes, you're totally, you know, oh, that speech is going to be a look. We're going to keep one line from that speech, maybe, and the rest of it's just going to be a glance. Or, this thing that we repeated 3 times, or, yeah, I love that line, but the truth is, it's going to be redundant. Let's just get rid of it now, so that we're not sitting in the editing room trying to figure out how to cut around it. So, yeah, totally, it completely affects the sort of official first draft that you produce.
And I guess the next thing on that would be, when you're writing, do you write with characters in mind, people and actresses in mind? Like, when you were making Solitary Man, did you say, okay, so I want Michael Douglas for this movie, or I want Susan Sarandon or whoever else for this movie? So do you write to their strengths of those characters or those people?
I not intentionally, but writing that movie, there's no question that somewhere around the midpoint of the movie, it just became Michael in my head. I just started hearing his voice.
Okay.
But I didn't know him or anything. But because for me, he sort of is the screen icon of American business success. And this guy, had great business success. So, yeah, I mean, when you're writing Ocean 13, you're completely thinking of those guys the whole way. But generally, because you know exactly what it is you're trying to do. But generally, no, you try to, the best you can, to make a character that's three-dimensional and that will attract an actor.
And that actually asks another question on there. When you write something like Ocean's 13, it's got a couple of prequels before it, a couple of flicks before it. It has an established characters, established kind of relationships and stuff like that. Do you find that your writing becomes more stunted because you have to kind of somewhat conform to those relationships and those existing characters?
It can, when you're doing script doctoring stuff, when you're called in to sort of work on a movie for 4 weeks that's going to shoot, and has already cast and they already have the locations. I mean, sometimes, yeah, those things are restrictive. But Ocean 13 wasn't, because of Soderbergh and his willingness, to be as open as I was talking about. You can kind of, as long as you understand that it's going to be in their voices, you can kind of go anywhere. And also, writing for that group of people, it's like saying, is it restrictive to have to write for the London Symphony Orchestra? It's like, these guys are amazing, and they can all do anything. Like, between Brad, George, Matt, Casey, Scott, Bernie, rest in peace, and Elliot and Carl Reiner, I mean, it's hard to imagine what one could think of that you can't find someone in that ensemble to do. And then we had Pacino, and we knew it was going to be someone like Pacino, and Ellen Barkin. So, we felt so free writing that thing to go anywhere that we wanted to. It was incredible.
So it's kind of just like getting to play a little bit.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Do you as far as the lifestyle of a screenwriter, does it? I mean, now that you're very established as both a screenwriter and a director, do you do you still find it difficult to go like, wow, this last screenplay, this could be, I'm submitting this now. If it gets greenlit, great. If not, we got to come up with something else, even though I spent the last year on this. Does it ever get a little harrowing in terms of the lifestyle of trying to sell something all the time?
Well, if you write a piece of original material, you write a piece of original material and it doesn't sell, it never feels good. I don't think I don't think you've ever become immune to that thing. But when you're a working screenwriter and director and producer, you're able to, if you are able to, and we've been fortunate enough over these last 15 years to be able to, you can also take assignments and work for the studios, so that it's not that often that we're writing a piece of material in a vacuum. We do, but then it's to go make a movie, and like when this thing, the game that we're going to direct for MGM, and that was a book they had, and we went to them and we said, we have an idea for how to make this, let us rewrite what you have and then be the direct, we'll direct the movie. Yeah, you go out and you pitch them your vision and you swing for the fences when you write it, and of course you fall in love with the thing as you're doing it and you really see the movie and you really want to make it, and so then your job becomes, like Harvey Milk, enlisting everybody into your vision. That's a huge part of being a writer, director, or producer, is how do you bring everybody into the tent? And that's what you have to kind of keep in mind the whole time, is I need to be telling this story to everybody in a way that makes them understand why it's great, why they should want to be a part of it, and why they're going to be proud to have made this movie.
And I definitely want to talk a little bit more about the game in a second, because for those out there that aren't familiar with it, we do have a question from the audience, though. First Glance Film actually asks, what do you think about Hollywood currently greenlighting a lot of the reboots and sequels that are out there? And does that affect your job as a writer? I mean, obviously, it seems like a lot of people are still needed to write the reboot or write the or write the sequel and stuff. I don't know how much it involves. It actually affects your job.
Hollywood has always been looking for underlying properties that have some kind of value. They've always looked at books. They've always, Godfather was based on a bestseller. I prefer when there's an original voice that comes to the fore. I like Paul Thomas Anderson's movies and Wes Anderson's movies and Spike Lee's movies and Clinton's movies and really original voices and Nicole Hollow Center's movies. And but I loved Planet of the Apes, which took me completely by surprise. I had no idea I would like the movie, and I loved it. So I just want good movies. And for me, I just want to go to the movies and be transported somewhere. I think my favorite 2 movies of the year, my favorite 3 movies of the year so far are Tree of Life, Woody Allen's movie, and Planet of the Apes. So I'm pretty, my taste's pretty versatile that way.
Nice. You're based out in New York at the moment. I assume you kind of go from New York to LA on a somewhat regular basis. But being in New York, do you go to the film festivals and interact with a lot of filmmakers in that area? Because I'm in New York probably at least once a month just to go to, whether it's a film festival or whether it's to visit friends.
Yeah, I go to stuff. I'm going to be at the New York Film Festival for a couple of events. I know I think I'm speaking at something and doing a mentoring program where I'm mentoring someone. And I love to participate. I go to Tribeca every year. I've had films at Tribeca and absolutely try to be involved. I've been at the IFC thing downtown last year. I think their screenwriting conference. I went and spoke. Yeah, I'm involved. I'm very much a part of the New York film community.
Awesome. And do you interact a lot with? Obviously, you probably get a lot that follow you on Twitter and stuff like that. Do you interact with or get I don't want to say hounded a lot, but do you get a lot of questions from independent filmmakers or screenwriters on how they can kind of up their game or anything like that? Do you participate in like some of the online conversations like Script Chat or anything like that?
I don't really do that stuff. The central question seems to be how do you get an agent or manager and how do you break in? And you answer that wherever you can. I think the website Done Deal Pro is pretty good for that kind of thing. And I've done Q&As there and have answered questions there. And I guess I stop by there once or twice a month and see what questions show up and try to, help whenever I can in that way. And I went down and spoke at the National Screenwriters Conference this year. A bunch of my friends did it, and I thought it would be fun to do, and had a really good time doing that. Happy to do it when I can, but between family and making movies, my time is
your time's at a premium. I completely understand. I really do. Now let's just real quick. I want to get back to the game because I know we're running out of time a little bit. I want to talk about for those who don't know what the game is. Do you want to explain to them just real quick about what it is and kind of maybe where you are?
It's a great book by journalist Neil Strauss, and it tracks his journey from a guy who was a successful guy in New York, writing for Rolling Stone, but he couldn't really figure out how to talk to women, and he got an assignment to cover this guy Mystery, who had supposedly created a social algorithm for guys to crack girl code.
That's the guy who had the TV show that.
Mystery had the TV show, and Neil went out. But this is before the Mystery got his show after Neil wrote his book, and Neil went out and wrote this #1 bestseller. But what happened was Neil ended up not only learning from Mystery, but kind of usurping him, and Neil became like the king of the pickup artist, and then really kind of lost himself for a while. And this movie tracks that journey, and it's a great story. It's funny, but it's also really emotional, and David and I can't wait to make it. We're casting now. I can't really talk about who cast it's going to be, but we're in the process of putting that together right now.
Awesome. No, I'm happy to hear that you're in your active pre-production, getting stuff done, and I want to again put a plug out there for Solitary Man. Everyone should go out and grab that on DVD, or is it also on video on demand or on Netflix or anything?
I think it's all over the yes, it's on Netflix Instant Watch, DVD, and video on demand.
Awesome. So everyone can check that out. Brian, I want to definitely say I was so excited to have you on the show because I really enjoyed The Girlfriend Experience, and Rounders is one of my favorite movies of all time. I frequent the World Poker room at Foxwoods a lot. I play a lot of Hold'em down there. And
Are you winning? Are you a winning player?
I play very small stakes, but I generally walk away. The last time I came in with $100, I lost 30. Usually I come up about $200 to $300, but I'm usually grinding out for about six to 8 hours for that.
Hey man, it's better than walking out of there down $200.
Oh no, totally. Believe me, especially these days where this is all I do, so the money's at a premium. But I know you're an avid, you're a poker player as well, and you've gotten a lot of compliments on that. I actually read a compliment from you on your IMDb page about it, and I would love to sit at a table with you sometime and just play around.
All right, if you like for that, I don't really. I take it so seriously that I can't really play. I don't play that much anymore. I get too crazy if I play.
I'd love to hear that. Because it's one of my favorite things to do too, is watching.
If I play for 3 days, I'm playing for 30 days straight. So I don't really play that much anymore.
Awesome. Well, it's good that you take everything you do so seriously, I guess. You have that. It sounds like you have almost that addictive personality on the stuff you really get into, and I'm the same way. So I want to again, Brian, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. I want to again plug Solitary Man, and if you guys haven't seen everything else that Brian's done, The Girlfriend Experience, Rounders, Knockaround Guys, keep an eye out for the game coming out next. That's in pre-production now, so you'll start hearing a lot more about that.
Feel free to find me on Twitter at Brian Koppelman.
Yep, twitter.com/Brian Koppelman. We already got it.
Jerry, be well, guys.
Thanks, man. You have a great night, and we'll talk to you again soon, I hope.
Take care.
Take care. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was screenwriter, director Brian Koppelman, and we're really happy that he could come on the show. I'm a big fan of his work. I want to quickly, we're gonna get out of here for a minute, and we're gonna go ahead and we got to do a little ad type of situation going on here with our good friends over at Indie Picks Unlimited. When we come back, we are going to actually have a little contest here. Jerry will get us involved in a little contest, and we're going to do our IndieGoGo Project of the Week, and we'll see where the show goes after that. So stick around, and I guess we will be back very shortly. So stick around. And we're back, and I want to welcome onto the show our co-host, Jerry Cavallaro, who is going to go ahead and throw out a little contest for you guys tonight to win a free Movie Maker magazine subscription courtesy of our friends over at First Glance Film Festivals, specifically our good friends First Glance Philly. So, and don't forget, their Hollywood call for entries is open now as well. So, Jerry, take it away and tell them how to win.
It's pretty much the same as usual. I'm going to put something up in the chat room. First person to tweet it out will win a one-year subscription to Movie Maker magazine, courtesy of First Glance Films. Putting it up in the chat room right now. I'll read it this time. Full of knowledge from Brian Koppelman on FilmSnobbery Live. First Glance Films should send me Movie Maker mag so I can learn even more.
Look at you. I always love that Jerry can pack like the entire show. He basically summarizes the entire show in one tweet. I think
just shows that we have no content.
There's an art to that, sir. That's awesome stuff. I love it.
Thank you. The funny thing is, I talk so much and I go on, and just, in our personal conversations, I ramble. And yet I'm able to have such a concise tweet for each contest. It's amazing.
Well, to be fair, I give you like a good 20 minutes to a half an hour prep usually, and plus you have the entire time that I'm talking to the guests to come up with it too.
Yeah, although I usually do it within like a minute, and then I send it to you for approval, and then you never get back to me.
That's true. I'm just like, whatever, just frickin' do it.
It's your contest. It's your 2 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it is. Your contribution to the show is you feed me questions from the audience and keep everyone in line, and then you do the contests. Yes, and First Glance Philly, October 13th to the 16th, schedule posted tonight. I'm really happy. For those of you guys who have never been to First Glance, it's a great festival. They love the filmmakers. Great programming every year that I've worked with them. I've worked with them. They have festivals in both Philly and in LA and Hollywood, and they also have something new coming in the summer, 2012, in Vegas, I believe. I think that's out there now. If it isn't, I guess you heard it here first. Sorry, Bill, if that's still under wraps. It's a Film Snobbery exclusive. No, it's cool stuff, and the cool thing is, I'm hoping that we'll be down there in October for First Glance Philly. That's the idea. That's the plan, as it were. Starting next week, though, and leading up to that festival, we will be having First Glance Month, what we call. So we have, for the next 4 weeks, we actually have a bunch of guests who are going to be coming on who are official selections of the First Glance Film Festivals, including people that I don't want to talk about yet because I don't have the list in front of me and I'd forget. But you guys can be rest assured we got some great guests coming on. I know I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the flicks there, even though I don't get to see a lot of movies while I'm there, but I usually get the screeners after the fact. But it's a good time every time, and I gotta tell you, I can't tell you, I've poached probably 4 movies from Bill's collection to show at my own screening series, which we will be starting up again soon. That is another kind of thing that is happening. More on that kind of stuff and what we have in the works at the end of the show. Right now, though, I want to talk about our IndieGoGo Project of the Week, Things I Don't Understand. Now, they're trying to raise money for their post-production fund, and one of the things that I want to go ahead and the reason why I'm plugging them is it's directed by David Spaltro. I have seen the rough cut of this movie, and it touched me in a very good way, not the naughty way. Get your heads out of the gutter there, people. No, it's such a heartwarming movie, and it stars Molly Ryman. If you don't know who she is, you might recognize her from David's first movie, Around. You might also recognize her from friends of the show here, Gary King's movies, New York Lately, How Do You Write a Joe Sherman Song? I think she had a cameo in What's Up Lovely as well. She's kind of definitely known in our circles. Even if you don't know her name, you definitely know her face. And she is a phenomenal actress and absolutely beautiful. From what I understand, a wonderful human being as well. So I'm really happy to to promote David's work. David was actually his movie Around was the first review we ever posted on FilmSnobbery.com, and that to me is very special, obviously, and that was almost 4 years ago. And it's great to see him making this second movie now and getting it out there. And they just need some cash, so go to IndieGoGo.com, search for Things I Don't Understand, and click on there's two on there. He did an initial campaign for the for the pre-production. Now he's got one for the post-production, and they're really looking for, I think it's like $5,000. Yeah, $5,000. They're looking for $5,000. So real easy to do and real easy to kind of help them raise. Again, the thing we always say is if you can't give money, give time. Please go ahead, tweet it out, embed it in emails, put it on your website, Facebook it. Do everything you got to do to help get this movie out there. I've seen the movie. I can't write a review on it yet, but if you want my opinion, just flat out, great flick. David really knows how to capture people very well, and just those moments that people have. He's a great director, great writer. So I just want to throw that out there. Things I Don't Understand. I want to give you guys a quick taste. I'm going to show you their pitch video right now. When we come back from showing you this pitch video, what we will do is we will announce the winner of the contest for tonight. I'll have Jerry announce the winner, and then after that, the plan is to kind of just work out the rest of the show. So stick around. We'll hopefully have some more cool stuff to talk about when we come back.
I've always wanted to know what happens when you die.
Why do you think you're here?
$200 an hour for me to come in with inner turmoil and questions, only to find the answers myself while you scribble on a pad I'll probably never see. And if I'm lucky, prescribe me some meds that won't cure me, but just make me numb enough to forget about the questions I came in with in the first place.
Yeah, it's a great gig. But I think you would benefit from seeing someone else as well. I've contacted a friend of mine at Our Lady of Hope. It's a privately funded inpatient hospice program.
Osteosarcoma. Most have a 92% survival rate after 5 years, but I leapfrogged to stage 3 with a lovely matching gift of lung metastases. I like your shoes.
So I'm writing my thesis on what happens after you die. I'm here to interview you.
Well, not dead yet, but close enough. With all the research you've done, you must believe there's something else.
Yeah, of course. There's
Wow. You got no poker face, lady.
She's got this protective, this attitude. She's got a snarky response for everything.
I wonder who she reminds you of.
Why do you want to be around me? I'm a horrible person.
You're not a horrible person.
I am. I smoke, I drink, I do drugs. I screw around, I say fuck a lot.
I like the way he looks at you. When you turn around or talk to someone else, he just looks at you. He sees you.
People have the misconception that death is a moment, when it's a series of events.
I don't want to go.
We are all broken, wander alone through our lives, search for missing pieces to become whole again.
I know why families were created with all of their imperfections. They humanize you. They are made to make you forget yourself occasionally, so that the beautiful balance of life is not destroyed.
Is that true?
No. Sounds good though, right? To your friend.
I have cancer.
Cancer.
There you go. We're back. It's a great movie. There's things and there was stuff and shenanigans happened. It's awesome. So I want to go ahead and if you guys haven't already entered in for the contest, that's okay. That's okay. What we could do is actually, it looks like Jerry won. I don't know how that happened. Jerry, have you ever actually won a contest on Film Snobbery?
No.
Are you?
I kind of isn't fair since I create the contest and I'm in total control of them.
Well, you're not really in total control. I'm the one who usually announces the winner.
Yeah.
So I
You're the
don't
one that
know.
usually tells me to write the contest because you're too lazy.
That is true. I am very much a lazy sack of shit. But
I'm not going to disagree. I know you paused for me to disagree, but no.
you know, First Glance says I should give it to you, and I don't know. He's the boss in this particular case, since he's technically putting up the prize. So I might have to give it to Jerry. That just is what it is. So next time, you guys got to be a little faster on the dial. Now, here's the deal, though, with these contests. We have our winner from last week. We have our winner this week. The thing of it is, though, is that between now and between last week and when the contests and these First Glance shows end, if you've won a contest and you're here in the chat room and you continue to watch, you have the opportunity to win a bigger prize, and that bigger prize is actually the only way you can win it is by attending each show. So if you're not at every show, the reason why you should be at every show is because we're going to be doing the prize is contingent on a trivia question from something that happened on one of the other shows. So if you haven't watched every show, then you're not going to know the answer to the trivia question, and if you don't know the answer to the trivia question, you're not going to win the prize. The prize is cool, and we're not going to tell you what it is yet, but the prize is cool and it's awesome, and although it looks like First Glance is telling people what it is. So, yeah. Anyways.
And I'm eligible?
You're eligible, Jerry, to win software that is...
I don't know if I'm going to watch every show, though. So.
I don't know why you do in the first place. But
I really don't.
I do want to throw a quick birthday shout-out to an animate object, a person, a girl, as a matter of fact. Her name is Lisa Petrov. I met her at the Sidewalk Film Festival. I want to just say happy birthday to her. I want to... thank her for being, again, my short round to my Indiana Jones around Sidewalk Film Festival in Birmingham, Alabama. I had a wonderful time there. So yes, so cool things, cool developments going on in the film snobbery world. If you guys haven't been checking out my articles that have been posted over at masteringfilm.com, please do like them, share them, leave a comment, do what you got to do. We're really trying to get those out there. I'm in the business section, film business section. Great stuff. Brought to you by the good folks at Focal Press. Obviously, we want to get those articles really pimped out and big because quite frankly, I like doing them. And we got so many more coming. You guys see 3 articles that are posted there from me so far. I've already written 9. So you haven't even seen, and I've got another one that I'm writing tonight or tomorrow. So you haven't even seen what half the articles that I've already done. So I'm really looking forward to getting all that content published as time goes on. We are actually going to be starting up, it looks like, and we'll have we've got a little bit more preliminary work to do, but it looks like we'll be starting up the Film Snobbery screening series in the near future, possibly the top of next year. It'll probably be taking place over in the city of Lowell, Massachusetts. Looking forward to that, and will probably be brought to you in part by the Lowell Film Society. So I'm really looking forward to partnering with them, and we'll have more details as they arrive. I do also want to welcome Chanel James, our new Director of Sales and Marketing, our first kind of official Film Snobbery employee, not counting, Jerry as a co-host, but someone who's actually working on behalf to bring money into the business and to do what we do. And I just want to give her a quick warm welcome. So there's that. Jerry, anything... let's see, hold on. I'm trying to read the... let's see. Get out of mass.
You really should.
Dude, I've been trying to get out of mass forever, and unfortunately it looks like they just want to keep me here a little while longer, and we'll see what happens in the future. You never know. Things can always change. Anything can happen, as they say. This is Hollywood. Anything can happen.
It's not Hollywood.
Not at all. It's Massachusetts. I know exactly what's going to happen for the next year. No. We're I'm really excited. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. A lot of traveling. It looks like we've got a couple of festivals at least in the next couple of months that we'll be attending. I want to thank our partners over at IndieGoGo and IndiePix Unlimited for sponsoring, and Movie Maker as well, actually, for sponsoring our last trip to the Sidewalk Film Festival. Wonderful companies to work with, wonderful people to work with, and we were very happy to bring those sponsors with us to our our panel and to introduce our different filmmakers to that to them and to what they offer. So I want to say thank you to them. I want to say obviously thank you to First Glance Film Festival as always for providing us with prizes and the opportunity to talk with their official selections and stuff. Always happy to check them out. Again, call for entries for Hollywood is open right now. Check them out. I want to just kind of see what's going on here in the chat room. Some sponsors that never got their postcards. Yeah, I know. Believe me, you're not the only person who got jilted on that one. I have. It looks like I have some films for you for that. I hope so. What if I had? All right. So, anyways, Jerry.
Nick.
What's up?
Not much, sadly.
I want to.
Turning to me to try to lead on and throw out a great topic for the next 10 minutes.
No, I want to go ahead and I want to encourage everyone. If you haven't gone and watched Jerry's movie Stuck Like Chuck for free yet over at www.stucklikechuck.com, why it's fucking free, and it's a good movie. So there's no reason. Yeah, and there's no.
And like you said, it's free, so watch it. And if you don't like it, stop watching.
Yeah, there you go.
What's that?
You kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's just like we're saying you definitely have to watch, but you don't have to watch the whole thing. Watch what up until the point where you are no longer entertained.
Yes, and if you like it and want to see, I don't know, maybe 10 hours of bonus features, you can make a donation of $1 or more at our site and access that 10 hours of bonus features.
Did you see the, actually, there's, First Glance Film put out something. I also read another article. Did you read the article, Jerry, about, I can't remember who wrote it, but they were saying that does the United States need a film commission the same way that Canada does? In as much as, the Canada Film Commission, or Canadian Film Commission, they help sponsor money and grants and shit like that for filmmakers and for the, TV people who want to put stuff on TV and blah blah blah. Like there's always money in the government set aside for that. The UK has the same thing, and there are a lot of developing countries that actually have film commissions as well. Apparently, the United States is the only country in the Western Hemisphere that doesn't have a film commission because we have Hollywood. Do you have an opinion one way or another? Do you think that
I did not read that article, and it would have been nice to have that article that we could post it in the chat and give props to whoever wrote it, but it would be cool to have something like that, especially to if they had a cap on it where it would be just for independent artists. The studios wouldn't be able to get into it, and even if the studios have their $100,000 and under arm,
right?
It would be nice that they are completely blocked from it and it purely goes to independent artists, because I know a lot of local communities have sort of commissions like that, but it's
right.
Much smaller scale, for a local town for an arts committee, and it's not just for film. I think something like that would definitely be helpful for
my only fear for something like that though is that you have these independent quote unquote companies like Summit Entertainment, which when they made Twilight, you know what I mean, I don't know, there's some things
I don't
that
consider them independent.
Well,
even though technically they are, I don't.
And
I like we've been saying for since we started the show, we need a different word. It shouldn't be independent films.
Well,
because everyone lumps into that category now.
Well, we have another question. Chew Boston 2011, Ben. He asks, have you guys seen Red State yet, Jerry?
Sorry, I muted myself to type in the chat.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't?
I'm waiting for Blu-ray.
I have seen it. Because I was a nice guy and decided to get it on VOD, because that's how, Kevin Smith wants people to view it right now.
Kevin Smith needs to eat, so.
Hey, he's looking a lot more svelte than you lately, sir. And he just got congratulations to him again for getting his Secret Stash show up on AMC. That pilot that they did was picked up. They've got a series going now. So congrats to him and Walt and Ming and Brian. Real excited to see that. Actually, it's the first TV show in a while that isn't Doctor Who or Torchwood that I'm actually excited to watch, or Louis, because I actually love watching Louis as well.
Always sunny.
It's Always Sunny. All right, so maybe there is a small list. But yeah.
And Community.
I don't watch Community like you do, though. I watch it.
You should. I actually, that's one of the only shows I actually went out and bought the DVD for season 1. But mainly because it was on sale for $11, and I was like, the entire first season for $11.
Speaking of Jews,
I just bought it's amazing. You have to watch it.
Speaking of Jews, did you notice? Did you see the? I guess first glance put in the chat room a little bit ago about how Mel Gibson is working with Judah Maccabee to do like the Miracle of Hanukkah movie, basically about the revolt. And I can't remember the exact where it is, but I guess the guy who it's based on is even also actually not a distant cousin, but like a direct cousin even from William Wallace out in Scotland. So there's the tie-in for Braveheart, but it's kind of the story of Hanukkah.
It's just a way of making a sequel to Braveheart. It's going to turn out to be that.
I think so.
Braveheart 2.
But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. So I'm guessing that reason why Ben Chu wanted to ask about Red State is because he wanted to know what we thought. You haven't seen it yet. I will give a small review because my real review will be up on the site probably in the next couple of days. Once I get around to writing it amongst the tens of hundreds of other things I do. So my brief review on it is Red State. Real slow burn at the beginning. There's a, it's funny because if you listen to Smodcast, you hear Kevin Smith bitch about 20 minutes in the fucking woods, and Harry Potter, the last Harry Potter movies, the part 1 of them, the whatever the hell it is, Deathly Hallows Part 1. That's what it was. It's like 20 minutes they're in the fucking, or half an hour or whatever it is. They're in the woods and they're not doing anything. It's all character. That's the first like 20 minutes to a half an hour of Red State. There's this one little kind of scare scene at the beginning where it kind of sets up the flick. Then there's just this it feels long period of time where they're in the church and there's this thing going on. And then from there on, it's just all hell breaks loose. And I gotta tell you, once it does pick up, it's really good. I really enjoy the style of the film. I enjoyed the cinematography. Dialogue was right. It was very Smith, and a lot of unexpected kind of twists and turns too. I enjoyed it, and then the ending was really it was more satisfying than I thought it was going to be because I didn't see where it was going, and I like that. I didn't see the ending coming, and even though it wasn't the ending I think a lot of people expected to see, I didn't hate it, and that to me is good. So
There's a pull quote for you.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it, Nick Beasley.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, it was made for $4 million, and it looks every bit the budget, but that's not a detriment to that film. I think that he did exactly what he set out to do, and I think that it's definitely a movie that will recoup its full budget and then some. I think it's
just posted better than Cop Out.
Dude,
I hope so.
Dude, Jersey Girl was better than Cop Out.
Jersey Girl's a good film.
I agree. I want to have Kevin Smith on the show just so I can be like, let's talk about Red State, let's talk about everything, but first thing we have to talk about is we have to talk about why you keep dissing Jersey Girl.
Yeah, when are we getting that director's cut?
No kidding, right? The director's cut where you cut out all of Jennifer Lopez. And replace her with... Why it's not released is
the director's cut has so much more of her in it.
I don't want to hear that.
Well, supposedly there's this major scene where he's dancing, at the end, he's dancing with his daughter, and then in his mind it flashes to him dancing with Jennifer Lopez, or something like that. And I remember reading that there was a scene somewhere where he fantasizes about her, and he wanted to keep that in. He kept it in for as long as he could, but then finally they made him take it out.
It's funny. I hear that was exactly what George Lucas did with Return of the Jedi. Is there's this dance sequence between Vader and the Emperor at the end, and it was originally cut out, but he decided to put it back in.
That's going to be in the new Blu-ray release, though.
Exactly.
Back in.
I got...
He's putting Jar Jar Binks in all of the films.
See? Oh, Jesus, don't even get me started. One of the best parts of when I was playing, it was Star Wars The Force Unleashed, the first one. There's this one scene where you run into a room and you kill everything, and it's like a trophy room, so there's like heads on the wall and stuff like that and things. The one thing you see in that particular room, though, is it's Jar Jar Binks in carbonite. And you can blow him up or cut him in half or do different things to him. And to me, that is like the best part of that game. Not that the game isn't cool on its own merits, but I think that was a real kind of cool touch to be able to literally eviscerate a frozen Jar Jar Binks. But anyway, so that really takes us to the end of the show. I want to thank everyone who did kind of come on the show tonight. I want to thank our guest, Brian Koppelman. If you guys want to see the archive of this episode, it should be up in the next couple of days, pending nothing weird happening with the audio, video, stuff like that. It has happened in the past. Hopefully we won't have these issues. But I want to thank also, we should throw a quick shout out to Casey Ryan and the Cutting Room Floor for having myself and Jerry on the show this past Sunday. We had a great time. If you guys haven't checked out Casey, does a couple of shows a week. He's a really cool dude, and I really enjoyed being on his show. We've had him on this show. I've been looking for a proper way to actually release that episode since it was an all-audio episode, so I might end up cutting it and putting it in the interview section in FilmSnobbery.com. That being said, if you want to see all the cool stuff that we've got going on, keep your eyes tuned to FilmSnobbery.com. We have some more things in development that'll be happening there soon. I'm actually tooling around right now with a new design because I can never let that site alone. So FilmSnobbery.com. You check us here every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at FilmSnobberyLive.com. Follow us on Twitter, Twitter.com/FilmSnobbery. You can follow Jerry over at Twitter.com/GetStuck. Again, go see Jerry's movie, Stuck Like Chuck, www.stucklikechuck.com. And you can see our new episodes. We're starting to actually post all of our archives over to YouTube now, but you can also catch us over on YouTube, Blip TV, Roku boxes, TiVo. We're on Vimeo. We're all over the friggin' place. We're all over the place. And of course, it's hard to see, but if you do click down towards the bottom of the screen here, and you go to where it says Show Archives, it's like one of the bottom left-hand corner. Go to the Show Archives. You can actually see our archives there as well. So. So yeah, I want to thank everyone who's been on the show tonight. Chew Boss in 2011. I want to thank First Glance Film, Social Mapper. I think we saw a few other people there earlier as well. For the people who are having issues getting in, keep me updated on that because that may be an issue in the future. So we'll try to make sure that doesn't happen. That's it. Good night, everybody.
They're just not cool enough.
Well, there's that too. Good night, everybody.